Hey everyone, welcome back to today. We're diving deep into one of the most common coins in American currency, the 1-cent coin, also known as the penny. But not just any penny. We're focusing on the 1981-cent coin and its circulated value. You might have one of these sitting in your change jar right now, but just how much is it worth? Let's find out. The 1981-cent coin was part of the series that began in 1909, featuring Abraham Lincoln. This particular year saw a total mintage of over 7 billion coins, which makes it one of the more abundant pennies out there. But just because it's common, doesn't mean it's without value. So, how much is the 1980 penny worth today? The 1980 penny was struck by the U.S. Mint in two locations, Philadelphia and Denver. The ones minted in Philadelphia didn't have a mint mark, while those minted in Denver had a D mint mark. While the design remained the same, Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the wheat stalks on the reverse, let's focus on its current circulated value. First, let's talk about the value in its circulated form. Since the 1980 penny is so common, it's typically worth just 1 cent. Yes, its face value. However, that doesn't mean it can't have more value if it's in better condition or if you have a rare minting error. In terms of the grade or condition, a coin's value will vary. Let's break it down by grade A penny that shows significant wear, especially around the date and Lincoln's features. This one still holds its value at just 1 cent. The penny has more noticeable details, but still shows signs of wear. Again, you're looking at a coin that's worth face value, but it might appeal to collectors who are looking for a penny that's not overly worn. This grade, the penny still has a lot of detail left, especially in Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks. Even in this condition, it's still worth just around 1 cent. So, don't expect a huge profit just yet. The details are sharp here, and the coin is in excellent condition. But despite its better look, a 1980 penny in this condition doesn't command much more than face value. If you happen to find a 1980 penny that has never been in circulation and is in pristine condition, it might be worth anywhere between 10 to 50 cents, or maybe even $1 depending on the market. However, uncirculated 1980 pennies aren't too common and could be a real gem if you find one. But what if your penny has some wear and tear, or worse, damaged in some way? Coin collectors are very particular when it comes to damage. If your penny has scratches, dents, or other forms of damage, it's going to drastically reduce its value. Unfortunately, this is the case for most pennies found in circulation today. Now, let's take a quick look at any special varieties or errors that can increase the value of your 1980 penny. While the 1980 penny is relatively common, there are a few notable error coins to keep an eye out for. This occurs when a coin is struck more than once, causing the design to appear doubled. If you find a 1980 penny with doubled features, particularly on Lincoln's face or the date, it could be worth much more than face value, potentially even in the range of $10 to $50, depending on the severity of the error. Sometimes, pennies aren't perfectly aligned in the press, resulting in a coin that's off-center. While this isn't as common, an off-center 1980 penny could fetch a price much higher than the standard value. Over time, coins struck from the same die can develop cracks, and if you happen to find a 1980 penny with a die crack, collectors may value it for its uniqueness. If you've got a 1980 penny with an error or in great condition, it could be worth more to collectors. But as far as regular, everyday pennies go, don't expect to cash in too much. In general, the circulated value of a 1980 penny is just around its face value of 1 cent. Alright, folks, now you know what to look for in your 1980 pennies. While most of them are worth just 1 cent in circulated condition, special errors or higher grade coins can definitely fetch a better price. Always check your coins before tossing them into your jar, because you never know what hidden gems you might find. 1961. We'll talk about its circulated value, its historical significance, and what makes this little copper coin stand the test of time. So, if you love coins, stick around. Let's get started. The 1961 1-cent coin, or penny, features the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, a design that's been part of American currency since 1909. The 1961 penny, minted in both Philadelphia and Denver, is a part of the Lincoln Memorial Series, which replaced the previous wheat ear reverse in 1959. One thing to keep in mind when talking about these coins is that the 1961 penny is often seen as a regular circulating coin, not a rare or high-demand piece. But, let's break down its value in circulation and its place in numismatic history. Now, let's talk about the circulating value of this coin. A 1961 penny in average circulated condition is worth just 1 cent. Yes, the face value. However, the real question is, does it hold any extra value for collectors? Well, most 1961 pennies in circulated condition won't be worth much more than their face value, especially if they show significant wear, such as scratches, dents, or fading. These are the pennies you'd find in your pocket change or in circulation today. If you happen to find one in mint condition, say, uncirculated or near mint, you could see values ranging from a few cents up to a couple of dollars. But don't expect a windfall unless your penny is in really good shape. Another important factor that could affect the value is the mint mark. In 1961, pennies were minted in two different locations, Philadelphia and Denver. The mint mark, or lack thereof, tells us where the coin was produced. If you flip the coin over and see a small D near the bottom right, that's from the Denver Mint. No mint mark, then it's from Philadelphia. In terms of rarity, the 1961 penny isn't particularly special. Both the Philadelphia and Denver Mints produced over 1 billion of these pennies, so they are considered quite common. But what about errors or special features? If you happen to stumble upon a 1961 penny with a minting error, like a double die or a misstrike, that could definitely increase its value. But, as with all error coins, you'll need to verify its authenticity and condition before considering it a valuable collector's item. Why do collectors still care about coins like the 1961 penny? For many, it's not about the value in terms of money. It's about the history, the design, and the connection to a time period. 1961 was a year of change in the U.S., marked by the early years of President John F. Kennedy's administration and a booming post-war economy. Coins like the 1961 penny carry a sense of nostalgia. They remind us of the country's history and how coins evolve with each generation. While they may not be worth a lot, owning one is like holding a tiny piece of the past. Now, if you're looking to buy or sell a 1961 penny, there are plenty of options out there. You can check out online auction sites, local coin shops, or even coin shows. Keep in mind, though, that because this coin is so common, you shouldn't expect to make a fortune unless you have an exceptionally well-preserved specimen or a rare error. And always do your research before purchasing a coin online. Check the seller's reputation, ask for clear photos, and understand the grading system for coins. That way, you'll avoid paying too much for a common coin. To sum it up, the 1961 penny is a classic example of the everyday coins that circulate and find their way into our pockets. While it may not be worth much more than face value in most cases, it's still a coin that has its place in history. Whether you're a collector looking for something to complete your Lincoln Penny series or just someone interested in the history behind the coins, the 1961 penny is a cool piece of Americana. The Lincoln Cent, featuring the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin became a lasting tribute to one of the most influential figures in U.S. history. This was the first time a real person was featured on a U.S. coin, which was a groundbreaking choice at the time. The initial version of the Lincoln Cent showed Lincoln on the obverse, with 2 wheat stalks on the reverse. This design became known as the wheatback penny, and it remained in circulation until 1958-1959. The design of the Lincoln Cent was updated to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The reverse of the coin was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial, a design by Frank Gasparo, replacing the wheat stalks. This change resulted in the iconic Lincoln Memorial series, which lasted from 1959 until 2008 when the reverse was again updated to feature a Union shield. The 1961 penny is a part of this new design, and although it might seem like a simple coin today, it represents the evolving nature of U.S. coinage and the enduring legacy of President Lincoln. The 1961 penny was minted during a time of significant change in the United States. The country was experiencing economic growth in the post-World War II era, and the early years of John F. Kennedy's presidency marked a shift in the nation's social and political landscape. In terms of coinage, the U.S. Mint was focused on keeping up with the demand for currency as the nation's population and economy grew. In 1961, the U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies, making the 1961 1-cent coin a relatively common coin today. Coins from that year were struck in copper, the standard material for pennies at the time, and were produced in both the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, and the Denver Mint, with a D mint mark. The 1961 penny was made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This composition remained in place until 1982, when the U.S. Mint switched to a predominantly zinc-based penny due to rising copper prices. This change in material led to the modern copper-plated zinc penny, which continues to be used today. While the 1961 penny may not have been a rare or highly valuable coin when it was first released, it was widely circulated as part of everyday transactions. Due to the sheer volume of pennies produced in that year, over 1 billion combined from both mints, these coins became very common, and they continued to circulate for decades. The 1961 penny, in particular, is now a popular coin for collectors who focus on Lincoln Cent series or have an interest in coin history. However, in terms of value, most 1961 pennies in average circulated condition are worth no more than their face value. Despite its lack of rarity, the 1961 Lincoln Memorial Cent holds significance in the world of numismatics for its role in the long history of the Lincoln Cent series. Collectors often seek out coins from this period to complete their sets, and coins in higher grades can fetch modest premiums. Additionally, mint errors, such as double strikes or other anomalies, can make certain 1961 pennies more valuable. The 1961 penny also remains a piece of history, representing a time when the nation was moving forward under a new president, and it's a symbol of American progress during the early 1960s. The history of the 1961 USA 1-cent coin is part of a larger narrative that spans over a century of U.S. coinage. From its origins as part of the Lincoln Cent series to its place in the coinage of the early 1960s. This penny is a reminder of the economic, political, and social shifts that occurred during that time. While not necessarily rare or highly valuable in most conditions, the 1961 penny is a beloved part of American numismatic history, cherished by collectors and history enthusiasts alike. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on our next coin adventure. Also, drop a comment below if you found any interesting pennies or have any questions about the 1961 coin. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.